Hello dear listeners, welcome to IFFI Audiobooks. Here you can listen to crime, detective and mystery fiction. If you enjoy my content, please consider hitting the like button. It's the only way the YouTube algorithm notices me. In a bustling city where the streets are always alive with the hum of activity and where social media reigns supreme, we meet Isabella, a young woman with an enchanting smile and a passion for capturing life's beautiful moments. Her Instagram feed is a kaleidoscope of vibrant colors, filled with stunning photography, beauty tips, and fashion-forward looks. Each post tells a story, from her sunlit morning routine to the latest must-have beauty product, all carefully curated to showcase her love for lifestyle and fashion. Her followers are captivated by her authentic charm, and every day, her numbers grow, turning her into one of the city's most promising influencers. But in the shadows, where the glow of social media can feel overwhelming, there is another girl, Lisa. Unlike Isabella, Lisa moves through the online world quietly, watching rather than creating. As she scrolls through Isabella's perfectly edited photos and sees the hundreds of comments praising her, a bitter envy begins to grow within her. One afternoon, while Isabella is sitting at her favorite cafe, sipping a lavender latte and preparing to upload another post, her phone buzzes. It's a notification from one of her followers. "Hey, Isabella. Your latest post is amazing. You make it look so easy. How do you manage to always look so perfect?" the message reads. Isabella smiles, her fingers flying across the screen as she replies. "Thank you so much. It's all about finding balance and doing what you love. I just try to stay true to myself and share what I'm passionate about." Just as she's about to hit post, her friend Marissa slides into the seat across from her, eyebrows raised. "Isabella, seriously, how do you do it? You're everywhere these days. It's like your following exploded overnight." Marissa says, her tone a mix of admiration and genuine curiosity. Isabella laughs, tucking a strand of her dark hair behind her ear. "I don't know, it just sort of happened. I guess people are connecting with what I put out there. I'm just sharing things that inspire me." "Well, you've certainly inspired the whole city. Everywhere I go, people are talking about you. You're like a mini celebrity now," Marissa teases. As the two friends chat, neither of them notices Lisa sitting a few tables away, her eyes fixed on Isabella, her expression hard. Lisa scrolls through Isabella's latest post, her fingers tightening around her phone as she reads the flood of "She makes it look so easy," Lisa mutters under her breath. Why does she get all the attention? What does she have that I don't? Back at Isabella's table, Marissa suddenly leans forward, lowering her voice. "You know, I heard some people have been not so kind about your success." Isabella tilts her head, surprised. "Really? I try to stay away from the negativity." "Yeah, but you know how it is. Some people can't handle seeing others succeed. They get jealous," Marissa explains, glancing around as if expecting to see one of those jealous onlookers nearby. Isabella shrugs, her smile unwavering. "I can't worry about that. There's always going to be someone out there who doesn't like what you're doing. But I can't let that stop me from doing what I love." Meanwhile, Lisa, who's been eavesdropping from afar, scoffs quietly to herself. "Can't let it stop you, huh? Well, we'll see about that," she whispers, a plan beginning to form in her mind. As Isabella posts another perfectly timed picture, Lisa begins typing furiously on her phone, her eyes narrowing with determination. This wasn't just envy anymore. It was personal. Isabella sat at her usual spot by the window of her favorite cafe, the sunlight casting a warm glow over the cozy, rustic decor. With her phone in hand and a latte in front of her, she carefully framed the perfect shot, the soft hues of the wooden tables, the leafy plants by the windows, and the steam rising from her cup. Snap! Another beautiful photo for her Instagram feed. Later that day, the image was posted, tagged with her usual aesthetic hashtags, #KVibes, #morningroutine, #LatteLove. Almost instantly, the likes started rolling in, and her followers flooded the comments with compliments. It was just another day in the life of Isabella, a rising social media star, effortlessly charming her audience with her authenticity and eye for detail. Days later, Lisa stumbled upon Isabella's post. Sitting in her room, she scrolled through Instagram, her thumb pausing when Isabella's photo appeared on her screen. The image was flawless, capturing everything Lisa wished her own content could be. The cafe looked magical, and Isabella, with her signature smile, seemed so perfect. Jealousy flickered within Lisa, but beneath it was also a strange fascination. Adoring comments. Without overthinking it, Lisa impulsively clicked the follow button and sent a friend request. Her heart raced slightly. What were the chances Isabella would accept? The next morning, Lisa's phone buzzed with a notification. Isabella has accepted your friend request. Lisa stared at the screen, a small thrill running through her. She couldn't believe it. Her finger hovered over the message button, and before she could stop herself, she typed out a message. Hey Isabella. I love your content. That cafe shot was so beautiful. I've been trying to get into influencing too, do you have any tips? Minutes later, Isabella's reply popped up, Hey Lisa. Thank you so much. I'm glad you liked the photo. It's all about finding your unique voice and sharing what you love. I'm sure you'll do great. Let's chat more. From there, the two girls began chatting regularly. At first, it was mostly about social media, the latest Instagram trends, editing tips, and the best filters for that perfect aesthetic. Lisa was eager to learn, and Isabella, friendly as always, shared her insights without hesitation. I've been trying to post more consistently, Lisa mentioned one day. But it's so hard to keep up with everything. How do you manage to balance it all? Isabella smiled as she replied. It can be a lot sometimes, but I think the key is to have fun with it. I don't take it too seriously. If I'm not feeling it one day, I won't force a post. Authenticity is what people connect with. Lisa nodded, though deep inside, something gnawed at her. While Isabella made everything seem so effortless, Lisa struggled to gain even a fraction of her success. Still, she kept up the friendly chats, complimenting Isabella's photos and sharing her own fledgling ideas for content. As the weeks passed, they began discussing meeting up in person. How about brunch this weekend? Isabella suggested one afternoon. I know this cute spot downtown that just opened. We could take some photos together and make a fun day of it. Lisa's heart skipped a beat. Meeting in person felt like a step forward, a chance to get closer to Isabella, perhaps even to learn more about how she maintained her flawless online persona. That sounds amazing. Lisa replied enthusiastically. I'll be there. The day of the brunch arrived, and the two girls met at a chic bistro, the kind of place that looked like it was designed for Instagram photos. Isabella arrived first, dressed in a casual yet elegant outfit, her hair falling effortlessly over her shoulders. She greeted Lisa with her signature bright smile, as if they had been friends for years. Lisa. So good to finally meet you in person, Isabella said, pulling her into a light hug. I've been looking forward to this. Same here. Lisa replied, though her voice wavered slightly. Seeing Isabella in real life was different. She was just as beautiful, just as effortlessly captivating as she was online. Lisa felt a flicker of self-consciousness, but she quickly pushed it aside. As they ordered their food and began chatting, their conversation flowed easily at first. They laughed about the struggles of getting the perfect shot, swapped tips on editing apps, and even brainstormed ideas for future collaborations. "You know, we should totally do a photo shoot together one day," Isabella suggested, her eyes lighting up. "I think our styles would really complement each other." Lisa smiled, but inside, a storm was brewing. While Isabella chatted breezily about social media success and future plans, Lisa couldn't shake the growing resentment gnawing at her. Every time Isabella spoke about her latest brand collaboration or her skyrocketing follower count, Lisa felt more and more overshadowed. Finally, when the conversation turned back to social media, Lisa's voice took on a slightly sharper edge. "It must be nice to have everything come so easily for you," she said, her smile tight. Isabella blinked, taken aback. "What do you mean?" "Well," Lisa continued, trying to sound casual, "you have this huge following, and brands practically throw themselves at you. It's like, you don't even have to try." Isabella frowned slightly, sensing the tension. "It hasn't always been easy, Lisa. I've put in a lot of work to get where I am. But I'm sure you'll get there too. It just takes time." Lisa's stomach twisted at Isabella's well-meaning words. Time. How much more time did she need before she could finally step out of Isabella's shadow? As brunch ended and the two girls parted ways, Isabella waved cheerfully. "Let's do this again soon. It was so much fun." But as Lisa walked away, her smile faded. Beneath her friendly facade, a darker feeling simmered: jealousy, frustration, and something more dangerous, the desire to see Isabella fall from her pedestal. Isabella had no idea what was coming. The cafe bustled around them, the clinking of cups and the hum of soft conversation creating a lively yet intimate atmosphere. Isabella and Lisa sat at a small table in the corner, plates of half-eaten pastries and empty coffee cups in front of them. They were mid-laughter, their cheeks flushed from the joy of sharing stories about their lives. For a moment, it felt as if they had known each other for years. Isabella leaned back in her chair, her smile softening as she wiped a tear of laughter from her eye. "I swear, I don't know how I managed to lock myself out of my own apartment in pajamas, holding nothing but a smoothie. It was such a disaster," she said, shaking her head in amusement. Lisa chuckled along, though her laughter didn't quite reach her eyes. "That sounds like something straight out of a sitcom," she replied, forcing another laugh. As the laughter faded, Isabella's expression shifted slightly, growing more serious. "Honestly, though," she began, glancing around as if to make sure no one else was listening, "it's not always easy. Keeping up with social media, maintaining this perfect image, sometimes it feels like a lot of pressure." Lisa tilted her head, surprised at Isabella's sudden openness. She had always imagined her as effortlessly perfect, gliding through life without a care. Yet here she was, revealing the weight of her online persona. "What do you mean?" Lisa asked, feigning curiosity. Isabella sighed, her fingers tracing the rim of her cup. "I know it looks like I have everything together online. But the truth is, I'm constantly worried about losing it all. Every post has to be flawless. If it's not, people start unfollowing, brands pull out, and suddenly it feels like my entire identity is at risk." Lisa nodded, her face a mask of sympathy, but inside, a different emotion was brewing. struggles? Lisa thought bitterly. She's worried about a few lost followers while she's sitting on a throne of fame. Still, she played the part. That sounds tough, Isabella. But you handle it so well. I mean, look at you, you're thriving. Lisa said, her voice laced with false encouragement. Isabella smiled, though it was a little weary. Thanks, Lisa. It's nice to talk to someone who gets it. But Lisa didn't get it. Not at all. The more Isabella opened up about her insecurities, the deeper Lisa's envy twisted inside her. Every word Isabella spoke felt like a reminder of her own shortcomings, her failure to break through in the way Isabella had. It gnawed at her, an unnamed feeling of inadequacy that grew with each passing moment. As the conversation continued, Lisa's thoughts began to drift. She watched Isabella, her effortless beauty, her captivating charm, the way people in the cafe seemed to notice her without even realizing it. Isabella had something magnetic about her, something that drew people in. And yet, what if she didn't? Lisa's heart quickened as a dark, insidious thought slithered into her mind. What if Isabella weren't around anymore? What if all of this could be mine? Her followers, her fame, her life. She suppressed a shudder, startled by the thought. It was absurd, wasn't it? But as the idea took root, it didn't feel so absurd anymore. Suddenly, the cafe seemed too bright, the noise too loud. Lisa's mind raced, her breath coming quicker. She imagined it, stepping into Isabella's shoes, claiming her identity, her online presence. With Isabella out of the picture, there would be nothing stopping her from taking over. Her face flushed with a strange excitement. Lisa smiled through the swirling emotions, trying to maintain her calm. You know, Isabella, she said, her voice smooth despite the storm inside her, you've really built something special. I admire how hard you've worked for it. Isabella, oblivious to the darkness brewing beside her, smiled gratefully. Thanks, Lisa. That means a lot. I know you're working hard too, you'll get there, I'm sure of it. Lisa's stomach twisted. I'll get there. Her mind replayed the words with venom. When? How long am I supposed to wait? Suddenly, the thought that had been a whisper became a roar. Why wait at all? But Lisa shook her head, forcing the thoughts away. No. This is crazy, she told herself. Yet, even as she tried to suppress it, the temptation lingered, the idea growing too appealing to resist. She could feel it, a dangerous undercurrent bubbling beneath the surface. Isabella's phone buzzed on the table, drawing her attention away. Oh, hold on a second, she said, picking it up. It's just a quick message from a brand I'm working with. As Isabella was distracted, Lisa's eyes fell to the phone in her hand. The screen lit up with the notification, showing the familiar Instagram logo, a reminder of the life Isabella lived so effortlessly. A life that could be hers. For the briefest moment, Lisa imagined what it would be like to have everything Isabella had. The friends, the fame, the admiration. She could see herself in Isabella's shoes, filling the same space, but better. No more playing second fiddle. No more envy. Lisa swallowed hard. She knew she shouldn't be thinking like this, but the more she tried to push the thoughts away, the more they stuck, like dark shadows she couldn't escape. What if I could take her place? Isabella put her phone down, oblivious to the storm raging inside her new friend. Sorry about that. Where were we? Lisa blinked, her mask of friendliness snapping back into place. Oh, no problem at all, she said, her voice steady, but her mind racing. They continued talking, but the conversation was now a blur to Lisa. Her thoughts were consumed by the dangerous idea she was trying, and failing, to suppress. She smiled, laughed, and nodded in all the right places, but inside, the temptation had already taken root. As they said their goodbyes outside the cafe, Isabella hugged her warmly. "We should do this again soon. It was so fun hanging out with you." Lisa smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Absolutely. Let's plan something again soon," she replied, though her words felt like a promise she wasn't sure she could keep. As Isabella walked away, her figure disappearing into the crowd, Lisa stood still, her pulse thrumming in her ears. The thoughts, once absurd, now felt terrifyingly real. And as the city buzzed around her, Lisa knew one thing for certain: this was far from over. After their brunch, Isabella floated home, a warm glow spreading through her chest. The meeting with Lisa had gone better than she could have imagined. They had laughed, shared stories, and bonded over their mutual love for social media and aesthetics. She felt validated, reassured that Lisa, another influencer in the making, had looked up to her, admired her. It was nice to have someone who understood the pressures of online life. As she opened the door to her apartment, she couldn't stop smiling. Pulling out her phone, Isabella scrolled through their chat, her thumbs flying over the screen as she typed. "Today was amazing. Let's do it again soon. Maybe another brunch or a cute photo shoot." She hit send and tossed the phone onto her bed, flopping down with a contented sigh. The idea of collaborating with Lisa filled her with excitement. She had always wanted a friend who shared the same creative passions. But, across the city, in the dim light of her apartment, Lisa stared at the same message on her screen with hollow eyes, her fingers twitching over the reply box. She had been watching Isabella, studying her movements, her confidence, the way people gravitated towards her like moths to a flame. It was infuriating. Lisa's reflection stared back at her from the dark screen of her phone, and she could feel the envy festering within her. The more time she spent with Isabella, the clearer it became. There wasn't room for both of them. Isabella's success was casting a shadow so large that Lisa felt suffocated beneath it. She couldn't stand it anymore: the perfect smile, the adoring comments, the endless stream of opportunities that flowed effortlessly to Isabella. A thought had been swirling in her mind since that brunch, but now, it settled deep in her bones. If Isabella weren't around, this could all be mine. It started as a quiet whisper in the back of her mind, but over the days that followed, the thought grew louder, more insistent. Her jealousy had morphed into something darker, something obsessive. Isabella was in the way, and Lisa knew what she had to do. Late one evening, Lisa sent a message to Isabella, her heart pounding in her chest as her plan began to take shape. "Hey Isabella. I've been thinking, we should totally do a late-night photo shoot. There's this spot in the city that has these amazing vintage street lights. It would be perfect for some dramatic shots, super different from what we've done before. What do you think?" Isabella, still riding the high of their newfound friendship, responded almost immediately. "That sounds incredible. I've been wanting to do a night shoot for a while. When do you want to go?" Lisa's fingers trembled with anticipation. "How about tomorrow night? It's a bit off the beaten path, but trust me, it's worth it for the aesthetic." The next night, Isabella arrived at the location Lisa had chosen, an old, abandoned part of the city, where crumbling buildings stood against the dim glow of flickering streetlights. The streets were empty, quiet, almost eerie in the stillness. But Isabella, ever the optimist, saw the beauty in the solitude. "Lisa. Over here, she called out, spotting her friend near one of the street lamps. Lisa waved her over, her smile wide and welcoming, but her eyes glinted with something unreadable in the shadows. "This place is incredible, right?" Lisa said, gesturing to the deserted surroundings. "It's got this moody, vintage vibe. Perfect for some creative shots." Isabella nodded, already pulling out her camera. "It's amazing. The lighting is so atmospheric, this is going to look great in our feeds." They began snapping photos, laughing as they posed under the dim lights, their voices echoing in the empty streets. For a while, it felt like old times, like they were just two friends sharing their love for photography. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, Lisa's mood began to shift. Her laughter faded, replaced by a tense silence that Isabella didn't immediately notice. Lisa stood still, her eyes narrowing as she watched Isabella, her back turned, completely engrossed in framing the perfect shot. The envy, the obsession, the rage that had been building inside Lisa for weeks suddenly bubbled to the surface. "This is always so easy for you, isn't it?" Lisa's voice cut through the quiet, low and simmering with something dangerous. Isabella paused, lowering her camera. "What do you mean?" she asked, glancing over her shoulder, confused by the sudden shift in Lisa's tone. You have everything, don't you?" Lisa's words were sharper now, her face hardening. "Everyone loves you. The followers, the brands, the attention. And you don't even have to try." Isabella turned fully now, her brow furrowed. "Lisa, what's going on? Why are you saying this? Why am I saying this?" Lisa took a step closer, her voice rising with each word. "Because it's true. You're always perfect. And no matter what I do, I'm always in your shadow." Isabella's heart started to race, unease creeping over her. "Lisa, I didn't know you felt that way." Of course, you didn't know." Lisa snapped, her face twisted with fury. "Because you're too busy living your perfect little life to notice anyone else struggling." "Lisa, that's not fair," Isabella said, trying to stay calm. "I've never tried to overshadow you. I thought we were friends." "Friends?" Lisa spat the word like venom. "Friends don't let friends live in their shadow. Friends don't make everything about themselves." Isabella took a step back, her pulse quickening. "Lisa, I think we should leave. We can talk about this later, but right now, You're not leaving," Lisa interrupted, her voice eerily calm now. She took another step closer, her eyes locked on Isabella with a chilling intensity. "Not until this is over." Isabella's blood ran cold. She glanced around, realizing just how isolated they were. There was no one else. Just the two of them, alone in this abandoned part of the city. "Lisa, please," Isabella said, her voice trembling. "Let's just go home." But Lisa's expression had shifted completely now. Gone was the friendly smile, replaced by something far darker, far more dangerous. "No," Lisa whispered, her voice barely audible. "You don't get to walk away from this." In a sudden, violent movement, Lisa lunged at Isabella, knocking her camera to the ground. Isabella gasped, stumbling back, but before she could react, Lisa was on her, her hands closing around Isabella's throat. Isabella struggled, her vision blurring as she tried to fight Lisa off, but Lisa's grip tightened, her face twisted in a mask of rage and desperation. "This was supposed to be mine." Lisa screamed, her voice breaking with the weight of her anger. "It should have been me. I'm the one who deserves it, not you." Isabella's strength faded, her world growing darker as Lisa's hands squeezed tighter, cutting off her air. In her final moments, she tried to call out, tried to plead with Lisa, but no words came. Only silence. And when it was over, Lisa stood alone, the stillness of the night settling around her. The city, oblivious to the horror that had unfolded in its forgotten corner, carried on as if nothing had changed. But for Lisa, everything had changed. Breathing heavily, she stared down at Isabella's lifeless body, her pulse pounding in her ears. The weight of what she had done began to settle in, but she shoved it down. There was no turning back now. No one had seen. No one would know. And as Lisa bent down to retrieve Isabella's phone, her fingers trembling slightly, she felt a twisted sense of triumph. Now, she thought, it's my turn. With Isabella's body lying lifeless beneath the flickering streetlights, the cold air wrapped around Lisa like a shroud. Her heart pounded in her chest, the adrenaline still surging through her veins as she stared down at what she'd done. Isabella, the girl who had everything Lisa wanted, was now gone, and the power of her influence, her followers, her image, her life, was finally within Lisa's grasp. The silence was deafening, broken only by Lisa's shaky breath. Slowly, she crouched down, her hands trembling as she reached for Isabella's phone. The cool glass of the screen felt strangely heavy in her hand, as though it carried the weight of the life she was about to steal. For a moment, Lisa hesitated. The enormity of her actions threatened to crash down on her, but the rush of excitement bubbling beneath the surface quickly snuffed out the guilt. This was it. This was her chance to finally step into the spotlight that had always eluded her. Lisa's mind whirled with ideas, a dangerous concoction of cunning and desperation as she opened Isabella's phone. Thankfully, Isabella had trusted her, there was no passcode. The screen lit up with a flurry of notifications, likes, comments, direct messages. All for Isabella. Not anymore. Lisa quickly pocketed the phone and hurried away from the scene, her heart still racing. As she moved through the darkened streets, the plan began to take shape in her mind, crystallization with each step she took. She wasn't just going to replace Isabella. She was going to be her. Back at her apartment, Lisa's fingers flew over her laptop keyboard, searching for the tools she would need. She knew what she had to do, she needed to seamlessly become Isabella online. If anyone noticed even the slightest difference, the whole illusion would crumble. But Lisa had been studying Isabella for months, her habits, her filters, the way she wrote her captions with a mix of charm and wit. She could do this. She found the perfect solution, advanced AI software, the kind that could manipulate images so precisely, so flawlessly, that even the keenest eyes wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It was used by tech professionals and influencers alike to enhance photos, but Lisa had something far more sinister in mind. This software would allow her to blend her own features with Isabella's, to morph into her in the digital world, where everyone only saw what was posted on the screen. Let's see, Lisa muttered to herself as she clicked through her files, pulling up some of her own recent photos. Her hands were steady now, the excitement overtaking any nerve she once had. She applied Isabella's favorite filters, tweaking the lighting to match her usual aesthetic, adjusting her hair, her skin tone, even the way she smiled. With every click, Lisa's face slowly morphed into a digital version of Isabella. When she was satisfied, Lisa opened Isabella's Instagram, her fingers pausing for a brief second over the post button. A chill ran down her spine, but it wasn't fear. It was exhilaration. She uploaded the edited photo, her face, transformed into Isabella's, posing beneath a streetlight, smiling brightly as if nothing had changed. She added a caption that felt so familiar it could have been written by Isabella herself. Late-night vibes exploring the city in loving every moment, adventure, night shoot, blessed. Her thumb hovered over the post button, and then, with one swift tap, it was done. The flood of likes and comments began almost immediately. Isabella's followers, unaware of the grim truth, continued their adoration. Press next for part 2. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon.